back, everybody. Today we have a guest with us.
Hi.
This is Brittni. Brittni is also from Florida.
I am. I'm originally from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I've been in Italy now for 8 years.
My question for you is, what was your first experience in the medical system in Italy, and what did that look like?
Oh, wow. I had almost two simultaneous experiences, like around the same time. Yeah, so when I had first moved here, I had basically some, not necessarily a kidney stone, but some sand, I guess, basically.
I'm sure that was super comfortable.
It was very, very painful, so I can't imagine what it's like to have kidney stones. There with you. Husband had his longtime doctor who was very, great bedside manner, stayed for hours, made me feel so comfortable. And she really did just took care of me no matter what.
Now, as an interesting question here, at that point, were you married to an Italian or were you here on a permesso di soggiorno?
So I was just moving. I think I had just been, I definitely wasn't married. So I had come here with a work visa, the blue card. At that time, we were just starting to live together, and I don't even think I actually had, I think I was potentially here on vacation still at that point. I didn't have my everything put together. I didn't have my doctor yet. So, but she took care of me anyways, and I feel like that was a really amazing experience. Then really when I moved here was the first time that I had gone to my family doctor, and it was just so very different than in the US, where I really didn't go to the doctor very much unless I really needed something.
Can I ask you about when you went to your family doctor? So I've had a few family doctors too, and a lot of the time there's it's interesting to figure out how to actually see the doctor. What was that like? Were you able to make an appointment easily? Did you have to go to his hours and wait outside for a few hours? What did that look like?
Yeah, so I was really lucky to have someone to help me through all of this. So moving here, I had my husband and his family that was there to help me. Had I not had them or knew anyone, I probably would not have known what to do, to be honest. After, having them explain it to me, I was able to understand, basically there was a piece of paper with the hours to just sit during the office hours, definitely. Okay. Because I did notice, calling to make an appointment, you had a very small window of time with my doctor at the time. And I know it's very specific to which doctor you have to, like you said, you've moved doctors. I've had 3 or 4 different doctors.
And everybody has a different way. Some use an app, some have a secretary, but they're definitely, you have to kind of understand how to book the appointment, and the ATS will give you a little sheet and tell you how, what time you can normally call. I think you had a half an hour in the morning where they take appointments. Yeah. And then otherwise sometimes there was opening times, and then also after COVID, everything kind of changed how they adjusted it all.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen that there is an introduction now of way more apps being used and things starting to kind of catch up with the times. I think during COVID or after COVID, there was a big push to innovate and to catch up with the times. And what I thought before COVID and after COVID of the medical system is probably very different also when it came to the organization. And maybe because I had more experience with it at that point, understanding, okay, when you go somewhere, you need to click that button to get that ticket. But if you don't know that, you might just be sitting and waiting for someone to call you. Yeah.
Most different for you that was a little bit harder to adjust to, or if you didn't know was there, would be surprising.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the biggest issue I had specifically with the medical system was when I was pregnant at the very beginning. In the US, I would have just gone to my gynecologist, my OBGYN, you do your, you go to the bathroom, you do your little test, you leave your cup, it's all right there. Here, there's a lot of steps. There's a lot more steps. And I don't think I was fully prepared for that. I was confused, and being freshly pregnant and coming, it was, having to go to a specific doctor just to do a specific blood test, to then have to understand, like, which cup, do I need to get the cup myself? Do I need to not get the cup? What line do I follow? There were just so many more questions because I just wasn't aware of that difference and understanding. You have to go to so many different places instead of just doing it all
in one spot. I have to say, that is something to adjust to, is when anything you need to do in the medical world, it normally takes a few different trips to a lot of different places. Like, first you see your medico di base, and then they give you a ricetta, and then the ricetta will give you that blood exam, and then the blood exam will take you back to the medico di base, and then that will get you a new ricetta to go to the gynecologist, or everybody has a different, similar or different story to these things based on what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think in the U.S. there are certain insurances that make it to where you have to have that family doctor and you have to go do these things. But if that's not, the experience that you had in the U.S. when you come over to Italy, it's very different. And it's also just kind of what everyone does. So because this is the public system, it's not like something that's, kind of, okay, now you get this insurance, this is where you can go. It's, okay, well, I've had this doctor almost my whole life. If I do a test, I know I have to go to this hospital that's been near my house my whole life.
Yeah.
When you're coming in as someone who's older and having to, learn it older, not something that you've seen your mom do her whole life, your dad do it their whole life. It's something that maybe for an Italian to see someone be like, well, it's easy, just follow that green line. Hello, I know. It's not that hard. Yeah. But if you don't expect if you didn't grow up with following that green line, you just don't. It
can become very overwhelming very quickly. Did you have any particular moment when you moved to Italy, maybe after coming here, that you had run into any type of difficulties or something that kind of really hit you as a hard point of accepting the system or wanting to go away from it?
Accepting the system, I think definitely. So I have a few experiences there, and I think it also depends on who your doctor is. So at 2 years here, I had a slight crisis. I was crying nonstop for a week and a half. I basically had, I guess it's very normal that after 2 years, when you move somewhere, you may have some sort of serious culture shock. It's like a culture crisis or something like that. I forget what it's called. Basically, I was going through a lot. And I feel like in the U.S., you would have been told, okay, let's look at a psychologist. Let's talk about this. And, I had a doctor that looked at me, and my family doctor said, well, you should go back to America. She's like, I don't know, go back to America. That wasn't a solution for me, was to go back to America.
And can I ask you, in that moment of panic, and obviously it was a very difficult time for you, and you had this one person giving you this one answer, what did that feel like for you? Did you know someone else you could speak to? Did you know somewhere else did you go? Did you have any ideas as to maybe a second opinion? Was any of that open to you, or what was that like as being a foreign person in Italy?
Yeah, I mean, when you hear that, you kind of feel hopeless for a second. I was lucky to have a really great network, and knowing people like you, our American crew kind of, that were able to introduce me to things that they did and things that helped them. But at that point, I didn't really know where to turn. And that's if you move here and you don't have, even if you don't have someone who's also going through that experience with you, it's hard. You need to have someone who has the experience in order to know,
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I've found myself in situations similar, not in the same scenario. I've had my own problems as well, but I remember needing to get a medical I was trying to find the doctor for one of my surgeries, and I went to one doctor, I went to another one, and I don't know, I wasn't really like emotionally clicking with any of them. And eventually I did find my doctor, who I really actually quite like now.
Yeah.
But it was a hard experience because I think also you don't really know where else you're going to turn. When you're in your hometown, if something happens, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 this. Or you kind of have like a list of, all right, if my last resort is I'm going to call this person, or you have a bit of a better way to respond. Yeah. And then here you're like, oh, like what am I going to do? Right? You don't know where to turn.
But on the flip side of things,
yes.
I had my son here in Italy right after, kind of during COVID, and I was scared. I had gone through those times of like not knowing where to give my blood, not knowing where to take this test, going to a million different places to do different things.
Right.
Honestly, the amount of attention and care that I got from my OBGYN, that I got from the hospital here, I hear of my friends who went through, their pregnancies and everything in the US, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually very fortunate for my experience in Bergamo. Everything was included.
Yeah.
Everything was included in the very high taxes that I pay. I didn't have to deal with my, baby blues and a huge check, a huge bill waiting for me then. I did get extra care. I had an induction. I had a doctor that was really paying attention. My son wasn't growing as fast as we'd liked, and everything was very watched, and I felt very safe, as opposed, which was not what I expected. I was very scared because you don't choose, your doctor isn't the one that's in there with you having the baby. You
don't really know what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
But I do think there is something to be said about, when you don't know what to expect, and then you have to follow different lines on the floor around the hospital. You're kind of like,
which color?
Which color? Okay, I can do this. I can follow this line. And you're like, what about the line just finished?
Yeah.
So there is something about that. But it's okay. Everybody, you can do it, and you will be taken care of in the end.
Yeah. And, it really, the amount of kindness that you have from the people around you is also maybe not something that you would expect. Of course, you run into people who are like, figure it out, or like that one doctor I had. For the majority, people are happy to help you out. Like even the other day, I went into a hospital that I hadn't gone before to pick up some results. And I walked in, I couldn't find the button, I didn't know where to go, and it's something that I deal with now.
Yeah.
But you look around, you see other people sitting, and they're happy to be like, oh, it's over there. It's over there.
There is a sense of, camaraderie and this evolution of making it through, pressing the right buttons, getting the right number. Yeah.
And at first, you're scared to ask. I was so scared to ask, and I think that's probably why I got so frustrated, and that's probably why it was so hard at the beginning. Is I don't want to ask. I don't want to look stupid. My Italian isn't perfect. What if I say the wrong word? And it's really just getting past that and realizing I need to ask.
Yeah.
I need to ask because it'll save me from frustration. It'll save me. Just go. Maybe it's not as common for people to just go up and ask, especially here in Bergamo. I think asking for help, even in the culture here, is not something that they do as much. But when you do, I think people are very open to helping you.
I think so too. A lot of it comes with your approach as to how you're asking for it too. And, I think that a lot of the times people are always happy to meet you halfway as well. Like, I feel like I don't really know. I've tried this, I've tried that. And then when they see that you've made the effort for it, they're like, okay, all right, like I got you. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this together.
Yeah. It's really important to have the right network, the right people around you, and having a good guide. I think it definitely takes the stress out of it from the beginning.
I completely agree. All right, so now my question here, I would like to know, have you ever gone through any surgeries in Italy?
So I personally have not. I haven't had any surgeries, but my son is scheduled for surgery upcoming. So, and I know you have.
I have done surgeries.
Tell me more.
All right, welcome to the subject of surgeries. Okay, so I too, my son needed a surgery when he was around like 3, 4, something like that. And again, like I didn't know what to expect. And I have to say, like a lot of my big life decisions have been made with like zero thought. And I always look at it afterwards going, what was I thinking? But yeah, so I had my second child, and then we did a surgery on my son at the same time. So that was like perfect timing. So there was, first you have, like, let's say you go to the doctor. We went to the doctor and he's like, okay, this is going to need a surgery. And they walk you through it. To be fair, the hospital was actually like, okay, we have this preparatory class for you so that the child can also speak to somebody about what to expect from the operation and, you know, kind of go over ideas with them. And I really didn't take advantage of that. They did offer that. They did. And I was like, okay. I don't know. Sometimes things just don't click with me.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna opt for that class.
So I was like, okay, I think we're good, right? Like it's like a Band-Aid. Like I was like, yeah, it's fine. So then we went in as we did this. It was all covered by the sanitary system. So there were some ticket prices, which I don't remember how much they were. But it was like they schedule, I'm going to say, about 6 surgeries a day. So we came in with a group of 6 kids, and then we all were in like this waiting room together. And then they did the numbing on their hand to put in the IV. So I don't know about you, but like 3-year-olds getting needles stuck into themselves was not fun.
Yeah.
Like nobody was like, okay, sure, here's my hand.
Yeah, I don't think anyone likes that. I know they did it when I was...
Yeah, I don't even like it now. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't want that. So either way, so these kids were not happy, and we had the unfortunate experience of being the last of the 6. So by the time, they do the surgeries, I think it's like 45 minutes of surgery or something like that. Like it's not a big thing, but by the time it was our turn, we had to be there by 6. Then we went into operation, I'm going to say at like lunchtime. So that was you have a kid who hasn't eaten. And so that was an experience. And then eventually, but they also saw like that everybody was trying. This kid was stressed, so the staff just took over it. They were even getting Maurizio ready to go into the operating room with him if they needed to, if we couldn't calm him down. In the end, everything just progressed, and then we just sat out there like, oh my God, what did we just do? We killed our son, right? But everything was okay. So that was an experience. And then also, again, after the recovery was, I definitely did not realize how much of a recovery that was going to be.
Yeah.
But that was okay. We made it through. So that when I needed a surgery, I decided that I was going private. And when you go private, you pay similar to what I think you'd pay in the US. But you're the only operation that day. It's only you. You pick your doctors. You pick what time you go in for the surgery. And the whole room is rented for you for just that day. So you don't have to worry about anybody else coming in after you. You don't have to show up early. You don't have to show up late. Like it's all on your schedule. And the surgery itself was intense and was not anything I ever want to do again. But the experience was much different, I have to say.
Yeah. I guess it depends also on what kind of surgery you need to, right? Like it depends on what the surgery is.
So I think my surgery was a good 4 hours, I'm going to say, in the operating room. So it was intense. But it's over, and that was done. And I loved my doctor, and so he followed up with me after, and he got to know me because I'm not a super happy person when it comes to medical things. So like I don't like looking at things or touching things, or I get very easily overwhelmed, and he got to understand that about me. So he learned how to deal with me. Yeah. So that's always very important.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great results.
Lovely times. Okay, so at the end of all of our episodes, I would like to share some sort of funny tidbit or story. And my friend Brittni here had this story that had me in stitches when she told me. She called me the night that it happened, actually. And I was dying laughing. So I said, Brittni, can you please share this story with the rest of the world on the YouTube?
Because why not, right? Everyone needs to share their embarrassment with everyone. Okay, so I will. I will be the one to do that.
Okay, please go.
Sure. So something that is different, I think, in Italy is that when you go to a gym, any type of gym, you do need to have a medical test done. And it would be, I believe it's an EKG, if I'm not mistaken.
It's called a certificato medico.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is an EKG, and I think they test your blood pressure.
Yeah, it depends on also like what it is that you're doing. There's agnostico, non-agnostico.
Yeah. I think like agnostico is when you're competing in like competitions.
So yeah, like if you're doing something that's a little bit more forceful, so they have to basically run and they have everything on you while you're running and you're under force.
Okay.
So I was told to go to this place to get the test. And I just thought you walk in, they check your vital signs, whatever, and then you leave. Well, I get there and was told, okay, go back there, take off your pants, and then come out.
Which, by the way, guys, I have never been asked to take off my pants, and I've done this exam about 7 times, I'm going to say at this point. So, yes, go on, Brittni. Yes, go on.
I, of course, asked everyone before I went what it was like, what do I have to do, blah, blah, blah. No one said you have to take off your pants. Well, they told me to take my pants off. I went out and asked them again. Are you sure my pants? I'm like, maybe this is a language barrier. I'm going to walk out with no pants and they're going to be like, what are you doing? I think I walked back out to ask them 3 or 4 times. Like, are you sure that I need to take my pants off? Yes. I don't know why I had to take my pants off.
I don't know why either.
But I had to take my pants off. I was not prepared for this. I was not wearing covering underwear. I was wearing little underwears, you know, not the ones that you want to wear when you're walking around with, you know, people. Yeah. There are people. There were people there. There were, you know, other people who are getting their certification. There's the male, I don't know if they're doctors or whatever, who's taking this. So I went back and I took them off and I was walking around and like covering my body and like just walking out. And you know, I feel like for a lot of people here, like it's not as embarrassing because like even when you go to the gym, like people will just like take a shower.
True,
and like for me, it's not like that. It's never been like that. And it was just really crazy to me. So I did this whole test, like I think walking around like covering my myself. And so then I did it and I left. And everyone who I tell this story to was like, why did you have to take your pants off? And I still to this day do not know why. And I don't know. Other people did not have their pants on too. But they had, covering little shorts or something.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it was the type of pants I had on.
Maybe it's for the circulation or something.
I have no idea. But what I can say is I was quite embarrassed. And if you're going to go do an exam, maybe just in case, wear some big underwear.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to find.
Yeah. All
right, thank you, everybody. Please like and subscribe. You know what to do. I have to say thank you very much, Brittni, for sharing your lovely piece of advice of what type of underwear you need to be wearing when you go get your medical exams.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.